Oh, goodness.
Okay, Kim, you had your turn last episode, and you asked me about my tech career, which most probably only started when I was in grade 11 in Germany. We were introduced to math on the computer, and we were like coding, like very, basic. But I remember like I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I so remember my math teacher at the time, he was so excited that we had like some computers. We had to like share. It was like groups of 4 or 5 that had to share these like big computers. But yeah, it was very short-lived. And then, I remember my dad had a computer, and that was very fancy because he was working from home. And we had to do part of our matric. We had to do like a thesis thing.
Oh, wow.
And that had to be submitted in a certain format, and you had to like leave spaces and do annotations and all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
And in the past I'd done it on a typewriter, which is like so if you make a mistake, we weren't allowed to use Tipex to retype the whole page.
Oh my gosh.
So my dad for matric said no, I was allowed to use his computer.
Oh, sweet.
And I remember like I would like do it late at night and do my thesis. And my dad was very into the F functions, so all the F functions, and he told me all of that, and we saved it on a floppy.
Yes.
I still have the floppy. And yeah, so that was like kind of my first encounter with tech. And then after I matriculated, I decided, okay, I needed to up my computer skills, and I did, the Excel, Word, like a course. And I remember there was a whole lot of like older people with me in the class that were already working, They were most probably between 40, 45, 65, like quite a wide
age range.
Yeah, and I remember the guy explaining us about the computer mouse, and some of these people, it was really hard for them just to get the click right, and the speed of the mouse, and they were really, some of them were actually really scared that they could do something wrong,
Yes, yeah.
And the one thing that I remember the guy that gave the course saying is that don't be scared, you can't break anything.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now we can play,
It's not permanent if I move the mouse
and
wrong.
that kind of set me up for, I got married at a very early age and then moved to South Africa, but I had that background and I somehow found it very easy to learn new systems and to organize stuff.
Nice.
And I then started working for a big tour operator, and they found a spot for me in their contracting department, and I reorganized like basically their filing cabinet into something semi-digital.
Okay.
First I had to sort all the papers. It was a real mess, and there was no like real logic to it. So I did that, and they then introduced like a quotation system, like a sales and quotation system. So there was various elements that had to be working together, and I cannot even remember why, but for some reason I was asked to test the front end, and then I would feed back to the IT guys, no, this is not working. But because I was also feeding in the rates on the back end.
Okay.
They wanted me to test the quotation and sales stuff on the front, and so I knew how it had to work.
Yes.
And how it wasn't pulling in specials or certain other terms and conditions, whatever. It wasn't taking that into account, so it had to be all coded in such a way.
Wow.
So I would feed back to the IT guys, and I know it was in Durban, and the one guy, when he saw me at the door, he was just like, oh no, here she is again, The system's still not ready to be rolled out. So, and I really enjoyed that kind of troubleshooting, finding,
quality
making it
assurance.
and making it as best as it can be,
Yeah, I got you.
Anyway, they eventually launched it. And I stayed in the travel industry, and I had like so many different jobs all over the show. But I think my passion, whether I was like dealing with the clients or in the back, my passion was always working from a very organized space, because then I could understand how things, fall together, how they work together. It's much easier if you have, it's like, when you build with Lego.
Yes.
And you just dump the whole thing. I would sort, okay, here's all the red ones, here's all the white ones. Okay, now we need a 3 this with white. It's like that almost for me.
Very German brain.
Yeah, very German. That's how I see.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
Things,
yeah. And and I then got involved. I did have my own business for a short while, doing sports events, management, sponsorship, that type of stuff.
Nice.
And again, I was, doing all the organizing stuff in the back for that. And I mean, currently I'm employed, but I'm very flexible in how I do what I have to do. I do marketing / IT support / website / it's a small company, so I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And I lost my train of thought now.
It's okay, I'll remove this section.
What was I saying?
Small company, you do a lot of everything.
Oh yeah, so it's a small company and I do a little bit of everything, and I can really see how the fact that I am able to think like that and compartmentalize helps me in what I have to do every day.
Yeah.
And getting certain tasks done, like we were talking about the second brain last week.
Yes.
And there's a lot of the stuff I do myself, but I can totally see how that is really helpful for other people. That said, I think there's much room for improvement even for myself. There's stuff that I don't even know, you know?
Yeah.
That I'm actually getting quite excited every time we talk.
But you've been really instrumental in getting people to take the course.
Yeah.
What is it that you've been tapping into when it comes to talking to people?
I think mostly it's mostly that I don't want them to be fearful.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be scared.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because what I say to them, it's like, AI is happening whether we want it or not.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's rather embrace it and learn as much as we can about it.
Yeah.
And use it to our advantage, as opposed to being really scared and sitting at home and being worried that the robots are going to take over. It's like that extreme. That's the response that I get.
There's a lot of people who are worried. They imagine Terminator, they imagine the Matrix,
Absolutely.
They imagine all of these worst case scenarios.
And so for me, that was really, it's that on the one hand, but I've got some friends or also people that I come across that have their own small little business.
Yes.
That are really struggling because they cannot do it all themselves. The social media, the bookkeeping, dealing with the client, customer service. There's a whole lot of little things that happen in a business, and they suddenly gosh, shit, this is a lot. And everybody expects that, and it has to be, and it has to happen in a certain amount of time. People want a quick turnaround time. So, there's so many AI tools that could help them.
Yep.
If they know how to use them or set them up in such a way that they're supportive.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, is that people, even if they've got their own business, their business is not just them doing what they're passionate about. There's all the admin that goes around.
Absolutely.
And in maintaining that business and making sure that it's marketed. You were talking now as well, small tour operator, but there's the website and there's the marketing and there's the making sure that the post is collected and answered and doing the emails and all of these things that suddenly you can't just do a full-time job. You've got to do a full-time job and all of these extra bits. So if AI can help alleviate anywhere along the chain, that's where it's going to be beneficial.
Exactly. I also think, AI's got a really bad rap. And I've wondered in the last few weeks, I've wondered what would happen if you just named it something different.
Yes.
Like a second brain or my PA, but the PA happens to be an AI system.
My digital PA, yeah.
I think that also takes away a lot of that kind of fear.
Yes.
The other thing that I have noticed in talking to people is also that they feel like they like it, that there is maybe a system that could help them, but it's almost like, am I allowed to do that? Do I not need to work really hard myself? There is that kind of perception also, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
It's like,
if it's not hard, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and if it's like, okay, the AI has done it now, so now I'm home an hour earlier.
Yeah.
Yikes, am I allowed to? You know, there's that, which I thought was quite interesting to observe, I
think we grew up, especially our generation, grew up from our parents, we were told, you must work hard. You must work hard, you must get good marks. And the only way to get good marks is to memorize every formula, is to make sure that you're doing all your homework, because everything was handwritten. I mean, we were in school where there was I still had, do you remember the Rolodex?
Yes.
So we still did that at school. That was where you had to write onto that wax paper.
Yeah.
And then put it through that Rolodex that would then print off. There was no printer that you could type something up and just shoot it through a printer. So everything had to be, one, you had to write it out.
Yeah.
Two, if you got anything wrong, again, you weren't allowed to use Tipex, even if you did get it wrong. And you had to rewrite it all over again. And then three, you would have to memorize everything. Even orals. I remember doing orals and you weren't allowed to have keywords.
Yeah.
It had to be all from your head. Everything has been in our head. So we had to work extremely hard to be able to be at a level where we were considered good enough to be able to get the marks, to go through the exams, to do all of that. The generations that came after us, I mean, I think I was in high school when we started being allowed to use calculators.
Yes. Same.
And even then it wasn't in the exam.
No.
You could use it in the class, but not in the exam. So the generation after us suddenly was able to use calculators, and they were able to use calculators in the exams. Then they started being able to, then it was open book tests. So gradually it's become a lot easier to put critical thinking on top of a question. A matric pupil will sit in a history exam and be asked a question about a historical event that happened. They've got a book next to them. They've got everything that they need, but they have to put their own spin on it, which is one of the things that we didn't have to do.
Yeah.
For them, that conceptualizing is hard. For us, the remembering was hard.
Yes.
And now that we don't, and we had to do everything ourselves.
And what a waste some of the stuff we had to remember.
Some of the stuff's not true. I remember having to sit in home economics and learn how to use baking soda.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, that was, and we had to know exactly how much baking soda according to whatever the dry weights that we were, and we had to memorize it.
Shit.
There was no... You had your cooking chart next to you, and in my kitchen, I would have a cooking chart, but no, you had to memorize it. And it's like, why would you use some of my brain for that?
Yeah, why?
But nowadays, we still want to get to that place where we're working hard, and that I think is the same thing. It's the same generation. We're so used to working hard that if we're not working hard, we feel like we're not working.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, I think, where if it's not hard, it's worth it. If something can take the weight off our shoulders, one, do we have to pay for it? If I can't get to my taxes, I'm going to pay an accountant to do it. If I can't get to cutting my grass, I'm going to pay a gardener to do it.
Right.
So, but with AI, I've got this tool, and I don't have to continue. Yes, a lot of times people will pay the monthly fee, but you don't have to pay it each time you ask it for something new.
No, exactly.
And that doesn't, I think we're hitting a belief system shift where we actually have to say it's okay for us to not be on top of everything.
Absolutely.
To delegate a lot of the processes and a lot of the grunt work off.
Which actually, if you think about it, So I've really been thinking about that and that whole delegation thing, because that's essentially what you're doing is delegating it to an AI.
Correct.
But that is what a CEO does.
Absolutely.
He doesn't do all his work himself.
No.
He's got all the little minions, and very specialized people. He doesn't know what's his best way is to do the tax. He's got a specialist for that.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. And it's almost like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got this AI that can be all of these things. And again, it's almost like it's a fledgling company. So your financial specialist isn't a brilliant financial specialist, but it's good. So it can get you most of the way there, so that you only have to spend 10 minutes with an actual financial specialist. And your IT specialist he's good, but if there's like that extra little bit, then you can go. But it can take a lot of that base work. If I think about the grunt work that we used to do, one of my first jobs was as a data capturer.
Yeah.
That's where I learned how to use a numpad without looking. Because it was for a pharmaceutical company, and it was reams and reams. And that laser printer, the way it was just like one continuous piece.
But imagine if there hadn't been data captures.
Yes.
I mean, imagine.
Yep, all of that is in the ether somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all there somewhere.
But now we get the benefit of it. All of the AI has been trained, and I think this is where people get worried, is that it's been trained on information that's on the internet. And you can't always trust the stuff that's on the internet.
But you couldn't before either.
Completely. But now it's not, we're a little bit removed from the information that it's giving us. So we just have to be clear about when we prompt that we want it to be verified sources or validated sources.
Yes.
We have to be clear about that. You can't just say, get anything from the internet that proves that all bunnies are white.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it's going to do then, regardless of whether it's verified or not.
Exactly. So we have to be careful about the way that we prompt. And that, I think, our generation has worked very well within guidelines.
Yes.
Very, very well. Now there's these very fuzzy guidelines.
Well, it's about clear communication.
Yes.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah. But it's like overly clear communication, which our generation's not very good at.
No, because we haven't had to do it.
No. You sat in the class, the teacher told you what to do. You sat in the varsity, they told you what to do.
Yes.
And you just made it happen.
Yeah, kind of. I didn't always listen, but yeah.
I don't think... But that's why your organizational skills, you had to develop those to be able to work with the instructions that you were given.
Yeah.
And you managed to get it to a point where, right, if I get given these instructions, I've got an organizational framework that I work on in order to be able to provide whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's where your strengths, I think.
Yeah.
And your ability to communicate to people what the benefits of what you've experienced.
Yeah, I mean, just like simple stuff, like even, I get organized for the next day. I like fill up my water bottle for the gym and I put my towel out because I know that that's going to save me time the next day.
Yes.
And that's the same with AI,
Yeah.
It's just going to save you time.
Yeah.
And, it means I don't have to rush in the morning and I can just,
There's a chap that I was listening to on YouTube the other day, and he calls that delayed dopamine. So you're literally setting up your future self to be successful.
I love that.
And so the next day and it's about looking back with gratitude instead of looking back with regret.
I love that.
So he was talking, I'm going to send you the clip.
Yes.
He's really, really good. He was a CIA operative, and he talks about how he also uses systems like that, setting out your stuff the day before so that the following morning you just grab and you then are filled with gratitude.
Yes.
And that promotes more gratitude because then you want to do the same thing again and you're almost paying it forward. Whereas somebody who doesn't get their stuff ready the night before then looks back with regret.
Yeah,
and they start
frantic
they start the day in regret, which then makes them down and bitter and unlikely to continue the cycle of gratitude. So being able to, be nice to your future you is a way of compounding the gratitude.
That's nice. To be honest, I don't think it was always just that. There was also times they were so frantic and I thought, geez, this is like the one thing that I can control and put everything out. It came from this kind of space, but it's not like that anymore. Like I'm like more in the gratitude space. So I like that analogy.
And this is what's amazing, is that you've got people from the CIA talking about this, and we're talking about it in the AI space. There's so many parallels that are being drawn across all of these different spheres, and we're all kind of working towards the same goals, like freeing up places for people to actually just be able to be rather than be busy.
Yeah.
And I think that's your organizational muscle is a lot stronger than most people's. And you've seen the benefit in your life about being organized, making sure, and you use AI to help you continue your systems.
To refine them, for sure.
Yeah. And that's why it's easy for you to explain to other people, this is how it can benefit you, because you've experienced
experiences. I mean, I remember when I was in my days of selling travel, I always found it much easier to actually sell something that I had experienced.
Yep.
And I mean, like you said in the last episode, you like curious. Like I've got that same kind of curiosity.
Yeah.
Like about anything really. It doesn't really matter what it is. I want to see how things work, and then I ask a million questions, and so.
But when you can see the benefit, I mean, I've seen you get excited about like the benefits.
And then you go like, oh, but can I do this also? And can I do that?
It gets excited.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really nice doing this journey with you, because it's nice to have somebody who's just as excited about and curious.
But from a different space, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, you're coming from an outside IT space. I'm coming from very much inside the IT space. And yet we've both aligned to do the same thing.
And sometimes you say something to me and go like, English, please? What are we talking about?
But that's exactly what these podcasts are also supposed to be for.
Absolutely. I love it.
It's about taking those random things that for me are second nature, but then saying, okay, this is how you understand it, this is how I understand it.
Absolutely. But it works like that in any industry. I'm seeing when I have to teach somebody new in the travel world, and I use words that I use every day, and they go, what is that? And then you realize, okay, hang on, we need to teach them, and that is the same thing.
Yep, 100%.
So
no, that's awesome. That's why it's great doing
that's me for now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you, Tamina.